All right, thank you everyone for coming. If you do not know me, my name is Nicole Funk, and I am so honored to be introducing Elena today. I have been able to walk alongside Elena during this capstone process, but also during the past 5 years. And I think one of the truest and most consistent things about her is how much she loves horses. Anyone in this room probably already knows that about her, but it is something that has been consistent during really sweet and joyful moments in life. And it has also been an anchor for her in really hard or difficult times. I think that horses are the thing that remind her of who she is, and what she loves and what she really cares about. I believe that Elena is someone that strives for connection with her community, but also with creation. She loves animals and creatures of all kinds, but especially horses. And I'm excited for you guys to get to hear just how important that connection with horses is for her. I also believe that she is someone who has personally experienced a lot of healing through her love of horses, and I believe she's someone who really desires that everyone experience healing and wholeness in their own lives. So I am really excited to introduce her today. You're going to crush it.
Woohoo! Have you ever cared about something so much you devote your whole life to it? Has there been something that has impacted you so much that you want to share it with others? For me, this is horses. My personal story with horses starts from the very beginning of my life. I was obsessed with horses from a very early age. My parents were not horse people, but it seemed like a lot of my extended family was. I grew up listening to the stories of my grandmother riding her horse around her farm, and I listened to my aunts talk about their stories of riding and competing. Little me was hooked from the very beginning. My parents did not want me to ride horses. It's very time-consuming and honestly a lot of money. I begged and begged and was sent to horse camps over the summer, and eventually my mom let me join a riding club. At this barn where they would have all these kids gather together on Saturdays for a group lesson. They also hosted little shows where I won my first ribbon. As I got older, I started riding multiple times a week and started taking lessons with my trainer and mentor, Keely. She nurtured my confidence and pushed me to become the best rider I could. I started doing small shows with her and my lease horse, and I started to get really good scores. Under Keely, I had leased 3 horses. She trained me on them, but it was time to find a more permanent situation since they kept falling through. So we asked my parents if we could buy a horse, and of course, they said no. My parents hated the idea of owning a horse, but I'd been really struggling. It was my sophomore year and my mental health was suffering. I was struggling socially and couldn't make it through a whole day of school without calling my mom crying or begging to get picked up. I was also struggling with self-harm and motivation. It was so hard for me to find the motivation to get out of bed, but my parents thought about buying a horse more, and they eventually saw that this could be a super good thing for me. So we decided to buy Gus. We knew bits and pieces about Gus's past, but not a lot. He used to be a show horse, but he wasn't very well taken care of. He was about 400 pounds underweight and honestly was a little mean at first. This horse forced me to get up in the morning because I had to take care of him. Nursing him back to health wasn't just saving him, it was saving me. Everyone tells me how I saved him, but little do they know, this horse inspired me to keep going, even when I didn't want to. Fast forward a couple months, my trainer stopped training due to her having a baby, so now it's just Gus and I without much help. I still rode all the time and worked super hard at jumping and dressage, and we were doing great until a farrier seriously messed up his feet, and he became lame for almost 6 months. Not being able to ride was so hard, but it taught me that it wasn't just about showing and being perfect. I still took care of Gus every day, and not riding taught me so much. We would spend hours just hanging out, and I felt like I learned a lot more about his personality. As Gus got better, we started riding again, but through his feet getting messed up, we learned a lot about his past issues from improper maintenance, so we don't jump anymore or do anything crazy, but I get to just ride for fun now and have fun with my horse, without the pressure of showing and trying to be perfect. My personal experience with horses inspired me to dive deeper into how animals, specifically horses, can help humans. In Job, you will find evidence in Scripture how it proves that animals were meant to have a relationship with humans. Job 12:7-10 states, "But ask the animals, and they will teach you, or the birds in the sky, and they will tell you, or speak to the earth, and it will teach you, or let the fish in the sea inform you. Which of all these does not know that in the hand of the Lord has done in this? In his hand is the life of every creature and beneath mankind." Here we can see that God has designed animals to teach and communicate with us through Him. Not only can they communicate with us, but I believe that many, but especially horses, have the potential to heal us. I've experienced this personally, but through my capstone process, I wanted to learn more about the science of how animals can increase your happiness. For my capstone experience, I got to go to CSU Spur, an organization through Colorado State University based here in Denver that partners with Temple Grandin to provide equine therapy. For those that don't know, Temple Grandin is a Colorado native who has autism and is a renowned professor at CSU in their College of Agricultural Science. She came up with a system that humanely kills cows with a slaughter through her hug machine. She learned that when cows and people experience pressure, their whole body relaxes. She took that concept further and created the equine therapy program through CSU. Even though this is a secular institution, you can see the work of God in what they are doing. In Matthew 25:40, Jesus says, "Truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers of mine, you did for me." CSU Spur is a unique organization that prioritizes the needs of individuals with disabilities, with no hidden agenda. They sought out the research needed to provide the least of these with an opportunity to experience peace in the midst of their uncontrollable circumstances. This is not only a feel-good organization, but it honors God's call to serve others well. You see, even when an organization doesn't set out with the intent to do God's work, God is in everything and can work through His people. The individuals they work with at CSU Spur typically have severe disabilities and don't get to go out much. They are very understimulated. As a part of equine therapy, their employees and researchers at CSU Spur test their clients' serotonin levels by swabbing their saliva before they get to ride the horse, during their riding time, and after. The results of this showed that these individuals typically have fairly low serotonin levels before they got around horses. When they test them during their riding time, their serotonin typically doubles from when they first come in. And after they've ridden, their serotonin can almost triple. According to a similar organization called Tennessee Valley Recovery, the reasons why equine therapy is so beneficial is because of the following factors. Mindfulness and presence. Working with horses requires individuals to stay present in the moment, reducing stress and promoting relaxation. Therapist-guided sessions. A licensed therapist and an equine specialist facilitate sessions helping individuals reflect on their experiences with their horses and relate them to personal challenges. Another website called Immediate Feedback from Horses said, "Horses are highly intuitive and respond to human emotions, providing real-time, unbiased feedback that encourages self-reflection and behavioral adjustment." What I learned from CSU Spur was affirming for me, as it aligned with what I already knew to be true based on my experience with the barn I volunteered at. At this barn, there was a little boy with autism who came for riding lessons. Ironically, he wasn't there for equine therapy because this barn is just for lessons. However, what everyone at the barn was clearly able to see is that he and the horse were able to connect and understand each other in a way that no other human could connect with him. That wasn't unique to this particular horse, but I've seen it with most horses. Anytime they get around children, they are instantly calm and they slow down, and the kids follow suit. Kids will show up running around and screaming, but the second we bring out horses, they connect to the animal and become attentive, even sensitive to the horse. The mind and body connection between the horse and the kids, especially those with disabilities, is unmatched. This connection is backed up by scripture in Isaiah 11:6, when it says, "The wolf will live with the lamb, the leopard will lie with the goat, the calf and the lion and the yearling. Together, and a little child will lead them." Even the most wild animals can connect with the innocence of a child. When you are sitting on a horse and you are tense, the horse can feel it. Riders learn that if they want to have a successful ride, they have to be able to match their energy with the horse and calm both themselves and their horse down in order to prevent disaster. In therapeutic environments like CSU Spur, they intentionally pick horses that aren't easily affected by negative human interactions and have the power to calm whoever is riding them. This is what makes horses so unique. Therapy dogs and emotional support animals absolutely serve a purpose, but equine therapy gives individuals an experience they can't get anywhere else. This experience at CSU Spur was also affirming for me because it inspired my decision to continue to work with horses in the future. But it is one thing to have a dream and another thing to put it into practice. I realized from my experience with kids and horses that I want to teach kids how to ride horses, not just train horses. I can see the positive impacts horses had on me as a young kid, and I want to share that with others. As a part of my capstone, I reached out to a preschooler and kindergartner here at FRCS. I asked them to come out to my barn to teach them more about horses and how to ride. It was a great opportunity for me, my horse, and the kids, because my horse just got to wander around while I led them and interacted with the kids. It made me so happy because of the joy it brought to the kids, and it was so heartwarming. I personally love kids and love teaching them about horses and watching their love for them grow. It's pretty amazing watching kids start off wary of these large animals, but quickly become obsessed with them and can't stay away. It's so cool to see kids when they come to work with horses put their guard down and unwind. To this day, their mom tells me that whenever her son gets upset, he wants to run into the forest with my horse. There was something magical that happened that day, as both he and the horse connected in a way that could only come from God's design and purpose for the bond between animal and child. This leads me to my second lesson. Animals can bring people closer to God. I am a firm believer that God moves in each and every one of us in uniquely different ways. Some claim to be able to hear or sense words spoken from God. Others can clearly see his love through actions. For me, I see God moving through the animals I surround myself with. Animals can't speak to us, but we can see their love towards us through their actions. After you've had a bad day, you come home to your dog, and the dog automatically can sense something's off. Most dogs will seek to comfort you and try to make you feel better. Animals can sense emotions. In fact, HorseRider.com states that horses can sense your emotions even from afar. Animals pay attention to your body language and tone of voice. They can also smell the hormonal changes in your body that happens when humans go from happy to sad. Their response is to make us feel better when they sense that we are upset. And it's not just dogs. My bunny will lick my face if he knows something is off. Raise your hand if you have an animal at home that just gets you. For those that raised your hand, you also know that owning an animal requires responsibility. Proverbs 12:10 states, "The righteous care for the needs of their animals." Personally caring for my horse is the one thing that not only relaxes me, but kept me disciplined. In some of my most difficult moments, I still had to wake up early and go to the barn, feed and clean up after my horse. Owning an animal forces you to develop habits and character traits that honor God. I couldn't show up to my barn angry and explosive because my horse depended on me to come with a clear mind and gentle spirit in order to give him the best care I could. I also couldn't choose not to show up because he depended on me for his basic needs. Most of you know the fruits of the Spirit, right? They can be found in Galatians 5:22 through 23, where it states, "But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control." These traits are exactly what you need in order to care for animals. And they are feelings you will receive in return when you treat your animal right. God uses animals to bring us closer and be more like him, and in turn, shine our light for others so that they can be more like him too. Now we are at the part of my speech where I don't just get to tell you about it, but I get to show you. But unfortunately, I had a trailer issue and my trailer got stuck in the mud. So my horse will not be here, but he's here in spirit. But I'll talk about him a little bit. So Gus is a 14-year-old appendix. That's him in the picture. This was my senior photos. I've had him for about 2 years now, and you heard how I impacted him, or how I got him and how he impacted me. But now that I'm going to college, I'm debating on retiring Gus at a therapy program so that he can do what he loves by spending time with kids. Over the last 2 years, he and I have developed a connection in which I feel like I can sense that he's also ready for the next chapter of his life. It'll be the hardest goodbye I've ever had to say, considering he has become my rock in life and honestly, my best friend. But I can't wait to see how he goes on to impact many people just like he did for me. For me, it's horses. What is it for you that allows you to lose track of time and unwind? What do you do on a regular basis to share the love of God with others in your life? If you can't think of anything like this, I would encourage you to give equine therapy a chance now that you know how much it's impacted the lives of others, including mine. Thank you.